Maybe you've never heard of him, and I honestly wouldn't blame you, but he's got an outsider's chance to be Baylor's starting quarterback.
You are Locked On Baylor, your daily podcast on the Baylor Bears, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Happy Thursday, everybody. Welcome to Locked On Baylor. Thank you for making Locked On Baylor your first listen every single day. I am in need of a haircut from Sports Illustrated's Inside the Bears, and I'm glad that everyone enjoyed yesterday's show. It was not clickbait whatsoever. Colorado, Oregon, and Washington are all joining the Big 12. I appreciated your comments. For every person that did comment the words click and bait together, you helped drive up the views. Thank you very much. Also want to say that there are these new bots that have been coming into my different videos, and this one's my favorite. Make $685 daily. This is a great quote. Sorry, I just have to. I find that when you have real interest in life and a curious life, that sleep is not the most important thing. Martha Stewart apparently said that. So thank you. Make $685 daily for commenting that on my video yesterday. All the interactions are very much appreciated. Now, the conversation about, I probably should have, played the hits and done a conversation about expansion today, but I'm not going to. Instead, it's a Baylor quarterback battle because I don't have, it's not news necessarily, right? There's not been a leak out of the program that here's the new starter. I don't have any, no insider baseball there today, but I do have a weird hunch, and I'm hearing a lot of the same things from people who are very well educated, from people who are around the program, and from people who have seen practice. And that is RJ Martinez, who I wrote off a couple of weeks on this show, has been really good in spring ball. So I first want to apologize to my friend RJ, who I asked to come on this show a while ago. He said yes, but he'd already signed with Baylor, so we kind of got this weird thing where athletes couldn't do interviews. So sadly, I never got to talk to him face-to-face, but always been really nice. And I wrote him off, though. I was like, okay, Northern Arizona kid, transfers to Baylor after a couple of years at NAU. He's probably not ever going to play here. Sawyer Robertson came to town. Blake Shapen already played a season. There's no way that RJ Martinez really vies for the starting job. I've done a couple of podcasts now talking about Baylor's starting quarterback and who it's going to be. And every time I've said pretty much the same thing. RJ Martinez is not going to be in that conversation. And guess what, guys? I lied. I 100% lied. Not to say that Sawyer Robertson is, this is not, I want to be very clear. This does not mean Sawyer Robertson and Blake Shapen have done poorly. This is just that RJ Martinez, his senior mentality, he's got like the old football brain. His experience has put him in a really good spot over the course of spring ball. You're going to hear later in the show, this is kind of a misnomer, you're going to hear from Blake Shapen, you're going to hear from Sawyer Robertson, and not RJ Martinez. But he has become a bit of a star with the way he's thrown the football in the spring, the way he's helped command the locker room, and has earned the respect of the other players on roster. Martinez, if you don't know, 6 feet tall, 185 pounds. Not the biggest kid in the world. From Austin, Texas, though, so he's effectively a local. He lived the area close. It's going to piss some of you off that I called him a local to Waco from Austin. But last season, he threw 441 passes, 66% completion rate. He had 2,885 yards, 16 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, and had a really good game, like game of his life against the best team, one of the best teams in the FCS in Montana State. In a 3-point loss, 41-38 against Montana State, RJ Martinez threw 452 yards. The best defense he saw all season. Threw 452 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, and was sacked 3 times. So didn't have a lot of great protection. Kid is a freaking gamer. I already told you he had 441 pass attempts last year. The year before that, he had 220. So he's got to his name 660 passing attempts, and now pushing it's over 4,500 yards throwing the football as well. Kid's got a lot of experience. Blake Shapen, on the other hand, last year's starter for Baylor, he threw the ball 368 times. That's 80 times less than what we saw, from 70 times less than what we saw. NAU saw from RJ Martinez last year. Martinez also had more passing yards than Shapen. Shapen 18 touchdowns, Martinez 16. There is a whole lot of experience in RJ Martinez, and he's brought that to spring practice and shown it way more than I thought he would. The big thing for me, I have very long since last few months been on the Sawyer Robertson train. Really liked Sawyer Robertson. Good kid, had him on the show, have built a relationship with him off the air as well. Completely mutual, just friends. And he's awesome. Like rooting for the kid wholeheartedly. Here's the problem, though. As much as I love him, I got bad news. In his collegiate career, he has thrown 11 passes, 23 yards, 2.1 yard average. He's got an interception and his longest pass ever, 7 yards. He has played against Arizona, where he threw his longest pass ever, 1 for 1 for 7 yards. He has played against Bowling Green and East Tennessee State. Those are the teams that Sawyer Robertson has played against. Granted, RJ Martinez has not played against a lot of great teams. He has thrown in college football 4,500 yards more than I have, 4,500 yards more than you have, 4,500 yards more than Sawyer Robertson has. He's thrown for 30 total touchdowns in his collegiate career as well. That's 30 more touchdowns than you have, 30 more touchdowns than I have. You guessed it, 30 more touchdowns than Sawyer Robertson has. He brings a whole lot of experience to the table, and oddly enough, I'm hearing from a lot of people really close to the program that if anybody's truly pushing Blake Shapen's hand right now, that it's RJ Martinez, that the coaches are really impressed with what he has done because of the experience he brought to Baylor. Now, look, I don't know why he transferred here. I don't get it. Kid played 2 years of solid football at Northern Arizona. He would have been their starter again. He started there for 2 years effectively. So he could have kept going, built a dynasty, been like you ever heard of Brian Bell, brother of Sean Bell, on staff at Baylor now, winning his quarterback all time in program history at Sam Houston State. RJ Martinez very well could have become that, but instead bets on himself, comes back home to Waco, and now what I thought was just going to sit here and enjoy what it's like to be a Division I football player. No way he's going to compete for the starting job, and I was wrong. I was very wrong. His experience, the way he's looked in practice, the way he leads the locker room too. You've got 3 kids with really good heads on their shoulders. Blake Shapen, Sawyer Robertson, and RJ Martinez. Everything I've heard from guys who are recent graduates from the program and guys who are in the program now, they have all raved about how all 3 of them have become good leaders and been able to draw in the locker room without trying too hard. You remember, you probably played sports at some level, or your kids or whoever at least. And you remember there's always that one person who you knew when it came time to name a team captain, they really wanted to be the team captain. Like not, sure they were a leader by virtue of maybe skill or position, but you didn't want them to be a team captain because you knew how bad they wanted to be a team captain. Somehow, magically, none of these 3 guys are like that. There's a lot of humility between these 3 quarterbacks. And RJ Martinez now has earned a spot on this show, at least as someone who will enter the conversation squarely for the starting quarterback position next year based on the experience that he has. I told you, he is only 6 foot tall, 185 pounds. Not a very big guy. Could still probably beat me up. Not a very big guy. Blake Shapen, 6 foot tall, 200 pounds. That is a 15-pound difference. And I can only imagine that now RJ Martinez has gained a few more. He is effectively the same size as Blake Shapen. Sawyer Robertson, 6'4", 215, skinny kid. We got to put some meat on those bones. But RJ Martinez is now in the same playing field with Blake Shapen. They're in the same weight class, at least, like in the boxing ring or the UFC, whatever. They would fight each other. So he's got a shot. He's got a real fighter's chance to come here, undersized, grow a little bit, put some more muscle on, and become a contender for the starting job based on what he's done this spring. Zip on his ball is good. His ability to get out of the pocket and move, that's one thing that's been really impressive for a lot of folks. His running the football, he was not spectacular at NAU. His numbers weren't insane necessarily, but he did prove, he had 34 rushing yards against Northern Colorado. He had 29 against Idaho State. He had 8 rushing touchdowns last season alone. So he proved he can get out of the pocket and make some men miss, do a little this, do a little that. And so I think he's got just enough to put pressure on Blake Shapen, breathe down his neck a little bit, and make his own case, RJ Martinez's own outside case, to be the starting quarterback of Baylor University next year. Tell you who's starting in my book. That is FanDuel. No, it's not. It's Built Bar. Yes. Built Bar is my favorite bar. It's how I start my morning every morning. Here's what I do. I'm gonna open up my refrigerator back here. Not sure if you can see based on the angle. I'm gonna pull out this Candy Apple Crisp Bang energy drink. I just got another 24-pack in yesterday, and this is 16 fluid ounces. Is that what FL stands for? This is 16 flowing ounces of Redline energy product with EAA aminos, Ultra CoQ10, super creatine. Everything that will give me a heart attack by 25. If I go out, know that I had a great life. And you're not supposed to use it if you're pregnant or under the age of 18. Start every day with one of these. Not healthy. 300 calories, I believe. No, 0 calories, 300 grams of caffeine. 300 milligrams of caffeine? Not grams. That would kill you. I drink one of those, and I eat a Built Bar with it because they're healthy. They taste amazing. They're 100% real chocolate. That's right, real chocolate. And they come in unbelievable flavors. They got brownie, they got churro, they got peanut butter brownie, they got cookies and cream. I'm not sure how they do it. I really don't know. But they have 17 grams of protein. 17 grams of protein. Only 130 calories, only 4 grams of sugar as well. You don't need to wait to get a box either. Go to your Walmart, go to your Sam's Club, go to Built.com, go anywhere, any of those places, and find Built Bar. If you're close to a Sam's Club, you can get a 13-bar box. 13 bars. I get my 24-pack of Candy Apple Crisp Bang, and I get 2 13-packs of Built Bar. I'm set. One grocery trip a month, folks. That's all it takes for Built Bar. Go to Built.com, go to Sam's Club, go to Walmart. That is Built Bar. Try one out today. All right, other big storylines so far in Baylor spring football. Today is Thursday, April 13th, meaning that Baylor is very close to its spring game. I'm interested to see what that's going to look like. You see, Auburn did their spring game where the defense started down 24 or started up 24 to nothing. It was like 10-minute quarters, and the offense starts at various parts of the field. Sure, Hugh Freeze, whatever works for you, buddy. And oh gosh, what's his name? I'm already forgetting. He was the DC at Baylor. Ron Roberts is the DC at Auburn. That is just a dumpster fire of a place, it sounds like. I wish you success, but geez, very interesting there. That's how they did their format. I think Baylor's going to do their classic like they did last year. Just offense, play the defense, see what happens. It's coming up. We're on the cusp of that. And I'm going to lay out here. Do not be surprised when you see Dominic Richardson. I know. Richard Reese was really good last season, like all Big 12 level good, like Big 12 Freshman of the Year level good. I know Quaylon Jones is still here. Quaylon Jones is going to be good for Baylor. I think that's a fact. I also firmly believe, Dominic Richardson will be not only the starting running back for Baylor next year, but also the bell cow. Richardson is, from Oklahoma State, Baylor's answer at running back. We have talked a lot about the offense this season, and I think the defense is going to be where Baylor's really going to need help and have the most question marks. But I love Dominic Richardson. I love that Baylor has pieced together with Barrington Bros the offensive line. And I think, contrary to the usual Dave Aranda deal, that the offense will be the crown jewel of next year's Baylor team. Dominic Richardson had 149 carries last season for Oklahoma State, 8 touchdowns, 543 yards on the ground, caught 22 passes for 220 yards, brings a frame of 6 foot, 210 pounds to Baylor. He is going to be, seriously, I really believe this, the guy for Baylor football when it comes to carrying the ball. They're going to transform him. He's become basically a bowling ball, and they're going to transform him into the next Abram Smith. That's what it's going to be. He is going to get the ball that amount of times. He's going to be that for the Bears. Richard Reese, 5'9", 175 pounds. Dominic Richardson, 6 foot tall, 210 pounds. That's a big difference. Division I football, it's a big difference. I think Richardson's going to be that guy for Baylor. They gave the ball to Reese a lot last season, 198 times as a true freshman. He had better production than Dominic Richardson, despite 50. And again, he had 50 more carries. So, obviously his number is going to be different, better. But Dominic brings a lot of size. That's one thing that Baylor was missing last season, was the running back that you get going downhill. You give him the ball and you say, go run over somebody. Go run over somebody. Richard Reese could do it, but he was still undersized. Still is. Dominic Richardson's not. He's ready. And in spring ball, he has been the guy. I think he's going to get the number one. I think he's going to get the number one job. I think he's going to get the most carries for Baylor football next year. So there's your two storylines. There's your running backs and your quarterbacks update for the day today. Now, speaking of quarterbacks, Blake Shapen and Sawyer Robertson, folks. We hear from them. They spoke to the media. I want you to take a look at this. See how they both lead. See how mature they both are. How mature they are. Yeah. And start wrapping your head around the idea that Blake Shapen might be next year's starting quarterback. Blake, Sawyer, take it away.
Going good. It's been nice to get back out here and throw the ball around and do actual football instead of off-season workouts, which off-season was good for us as a team and a unit. So being able to get back out there with the team and work through the small things and the little details that we need to work through, it's good to finally be back out here doing that.
I guess you've known Sawyer for a little bit now. What's it like just competing against him?
It's awesome. I think competition makes me better. I think it makes him better to have two guys in the room that are, good quarterbacks and that care about the game mentally and physically. So for him to be in the room only adds a lot of depth to our room and only pushes me to be better.
Blake, how do you keep your confidence high when you go through the quarterback competition last spring? Win, assume probably you're going to be the starter for multiple years, and now you're in a quarterback competition once again.
Yeah, I think I've been in a quarterback battle almost every year I've been here, so I don't think anything's really new with that. So I don't look at it differently. I look at it as an opportunity to grow and get better and have that mindset to keep growing and have someone just pushing me and making me better every single day. So I'm looking to grow off of it. I'm not looking for anything to change in my mindset, only to grow and get better.
Is there any particular thing that you feel like you need to work on or you're going to work on this spring?
Yeah, I feel like there's always things that I need to work on and get better at. No matter, if we won 10 games last year, there's always going to be something that I could get better at as a leader, as a teammate, and as a player. So I think mentally I can get better. I can, prepare. You can always prepare more than you did. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to work on my footwork and all the little things that go into being a good quarterback. So
what was the biggest takeaway looking back at last season, having time to process all that? What's the biggest thing you've kind of learned from looking back at last season?
I feel like I failed probably at being a better leader than I should have last year. I should have been a little bit more vocal than I probably was, and so now I've taken trying to take that step forward to be a more vocal leader and to just inspire everyone around me too. To come out every single day with my head up, going as hard as I can, and hopefully get some people to fall in line with that. And so, I'm working on being a better leader and just inspiring others around me.
What's different in how you go through spring ball after having been the guy for a year versus taking over in game 11?
Say that again.
What's different in how you go through spring ball this year, having been the guy last season versus last spring, not coming in as the guy until game 11?
I'd say probably more experience. Like I had a full season under my belt last year, and I had, 3 games of experience, or a little bit more than that, but a couple of them are mop up. But I'd say experience. I had a full year last year. I knew what a full season was like, and I went through that, so I'd probably say experience.
Your second day of practice, how do you feel like things are going, and you feel like you're in a groove yet? Or?
I don't really know about the whole groove thing, but it's definitely good to be back out on the football field, especially after a long winter workouts, and, I'm just happy to be back out on the football field with my teammates.
Obviously, you're competing against a returning starter. What's that like, and what do you feel like y'all can kind of bring out of each other?
Yeah, it's really good. Competition breeds excellence, and Blake's been really helpful throughout the whole process. When I first got here, he was one of the first guys that talked to me. He's been helping me with the offense the entire time, so it's just been really good, and I'm thankful that he's been there, kind of helping me throughout the whole thing, learning a new offense.
Dave talked about you being a good leader. How difficult is that coming to a new place and trying to be a leader?
I would say, it's not necessarily, something you try to, you can't come in. It's you gotta kind of roll with the punches, and just be yourself. It's not It's not, I'm going to do this on this day, I'm going to do this the next day. So that it's just, you just got to be yourself. And, you know, I just enjoy spending time with my teammates. So.
What was it about this program and the situation that you decided, you had some other, you know, opportunities, you decided to come here?
It was definitely a combination of a lot of things. Obviously, you know, being a long ways from home out there in Mississippi, it's really good to come back closer to home. Obviously, I grew up in Lubbock, so I've been watching the Big 12 my entire life, and I mean, Baylor education, it just seemed like the perfect fit.
So you're in a world where you probably could have gone to other FBS schools and have the job kind of sewed up at this point. What makes you confident that you can come in and win the quarterback competition?
I would say that it's just competition. I like to compete. I guess I wasn't really looking for a place that was like you can walk in and be the guy day one. And so obviously, you know, I chose to come here because I felt like I would develop as a quarterback, and I'd be leaving here the best quarterback possible, no matter the timeline on when I actually get to play or not.
What's that adjustment like going from kind of a true air raid to more of a variation of an outside zone?
It's definitely different. Just having to learn new things. Kind of on the run. You know, you didn't get a whole lot of time to do it, but it's been good, and I think it's really good for my development. So I've really enjoyed it.
What was the biggest thing you learned from Coach Leach being around that program?
It was awesome. I was able to learn a lot of things from Coach Leach. I'd say the biggest one really doesn't have anything to do with football. It's to just be yourself and not care what other people think about you. Because at the end of the day, if you try to please everybody, it's not going to happen, and then you're going to hold it against yourself. And so I learned that because he lived that life. You know, he was unapologetically himself, and I'm really thankful that I got to witness that, and now I can try to do the same thing.
What's your thoughts on this set of receivers? What are you seeing from those guys? Really
talented, and I mean, just good dudes to be around. That's what you want in a team. Great locker room, great leadership in that group, and it's been really fun working with them.
What's been your impression of not only Coach Aranda but also Coach Sean Bell as well?
Both. I mean, this is outside of football 100%, just both stand-up dudes. I mean, like, you don't find better people, and that has nothing to do with coaching. That has nothing to do with football. Just if you met them out on the street one day, I mean, they're just awesome guys, and I mean, almost like father figures, you know.
You're in the film room pretty early, Coach Aranda says. Is that kind of a daily thing for you?
I try to, yes, sir, every day, but it works well with my schedule. I mean, like, obviously with class, practice in the afternoon and all that, you just gotta make time for it, and so it works well for me to do it early in the morning.
So what, 5:30 or 6?
Yes, sir, around there.
That was Blake Shapen and Sawyer Robertson meeting with the media. I like those kids. I like those guys. I really do. And if Blake's the starting quarterback, okay. I'm going to root for him. This has been, it always will be. Come back tomorrow. More expansion talk probably, because that show did really well. Locked on. Thanks for making it your first listen every Baylor.